Hey guys, if you clicked on this video, good for you. You've made it to the 5D. And what that means is that you were able to get through to the next level of consciousness that you needed to in order to keep rising in your ascension. And basically how this happened is because we were finally we've come from the blinded to the sighted. We're no longer blind, we are seeing. And we have been seeing that we have been getting brainwashed by the system most of our lives. Brainwashed that our food supply was okay, brainwashed that our politics was actually kosher, brainwashed that our ministries of faith were actually speaking the word of God, brainwashed to think that our family and friends was all about us. But really, they were just misusing us, and really, we were just letting our good natures get taken advantage of. But we did trust these systems. We have always trusted these systems, and we realize now that we were being betrayed. The lies that we were told, we believed in, and all have been crumbling and crumbling and crumbling before our eyes. And now we see it. We realize that the church isn't where God is, and God's within ourselves. We realize that school is not about education, but sublimation. And we realize that work and careers weren't actually getting us anywhere, but us giving up all of our energy and life force to work. And also, for those of my brothers and sisters out there that might be involved in the armed forces, we're starting to really realize that we're fighting for fake causes and not really for liberty and freedom. And we realize that a lot of us are dealing with fake friends, fake family, fake spiritualists, fake leaders, and we're starting to see it all. And if you are seeing it all, most likely if you clicked on this video, you're probably ascending from the 3D to 5D. From a 3D dimensional thinking to a 5D dimensional thinking. And it's a way of being. For those of you that actually think it's going to be a place shift, you're maybe a little bit misguided. Maybe you're not there yet, but I'll give you an idea. There is a scene in The Matrix that I think is very profound. I'm going to play it now, and you'll see what I'm saying.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
So, do you get what I mean now? Realistically, it's not the spoon that bends, it's us that bends. As we grow in our consciousness, all we're doing is changing all of the paradigms that we see around us. And all the paradigms are shaping and moving to our will because we've moved from the third dimensional to the 5-dimensional state of being. We've moved from being that bends to that makes things bend. That's the difference when you've moved from the 3D to the 5D. And what was taking place? Is there something that all of us went through? I believe so. And I'm going to talk about it. If you are somebody that was going through the ascension journey, much like myself, you're moving from 3D to 5D. This was what was really taking place. And we may not have recognized it in the moment, but in hindsight, things get clearer. And what was actually taking place during all of this wreckage was actually our chakras were coming on and coming alive. Now, you may have noticed that I wrote all of the chakras here, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to let you guys know this is how we got from 3D to 5D. We went through the root chakra. What was taking place at that time? Maybe you called it, maybe you didn't. But we were losing all of our family and friends. Why? Because the root, in its essence, what it actually represents is our foundation and is our structure. So, in order for us to start ascending, we had to have a stable foundation. And how do we gain the stable foundation? By losing almost everybody that wasn't worth a damn. By losing everybody, we were cutting the fat. And it does hurt a lot because it was probably lots of people, hundreds, tens, thousands. I don't know how much it was for you, but for some of us it was a lot. For some of us it wasn't many. It doesn't matter the number, but we were losing them, and there was a reason for it. Next was the sacral. Now this was a tricky one. Because we had lost all of our friends and family, most likely we were losing near and dear relationships as well. And maybe they needed to be trimmed. I call it the fat trimming time. And what was taking place from your sacral side is that you realized you were going into hermit mode. And when you went into hermit mode, most likely you were going into celibate mode. And why did you go into celibate mode? Because your energy was shifting from a sexual creature more so to a creative creature. Your energy center was opening up in a different way that you probably haven't never used. And that's why most of us were becoming celibate. And for my brothers out there, you were ending your extracurricular activities more so. But it's because we were going into a place of hermeticism because we were getting shafted and hated on by so many persons. And why were we getting hated on by so many persons? Because we were actually reclaiming our energy as we went through these centers. So we weren't making much sense to a lot of people. And therefore, we were in this fight or flight section of our lives. And through the ascension journey, we were moving through that fight or flight. We were moving, and it caused us to maybe be celibate. maybe not all of you, but for those of you that know what I'm talking about, you ended up being celibate in this stage, and you ended up harnessing all that sexual energy and harnessing all that creative energy and becoming a creative. And most of you maybe started your YouTube pages, your other media pages, became artistic and did something totally different with your time and energy than you used to chasing tail. I know it happened for me, so maybe it happened for you. The next one, the solar plexus. What is the solar plexus? The solar plexus is actually all to do with your willpower. Now, what took place for us as we were going through this journey was that the solar plexus was opening up. We were finding our own willpower to work within ourselves, to actually give back all that energy and that creativeness to ourselves so that we could will our power out for, let's say, the Lord. Let's say for our own businesses. Let's say for ourselves, right? For the first time in our lives, we were working for ourselves. We were realizing who we are. And it was a fun time. It was a scary time because we've never seen ourselves without the mask. And that was the time that it was happening. But at least we were willing our energy in a place that was all to do with us. It was happening for us, not to us at that time. That was the dropping of the mask time. Scary, hairy, but had to happen. Next on the list. So as we're moving to this section, which is the heart, which is the commander of all the other chakras, and it is something that we'll have to use to command our lives for the rest of our lives, we notice that a lot of the fight or flight started to die down a bit. And why did this happen? Because we started to love on ourselves and we started to have unconditional love for others. We were realizing that we were transmuting all that hate into something great. And what that was love. And when we were loving ourselves and giving out that unconditional love, we were getting it right back versus all the haters. And at the same time, what was happening is that because we lost everything in this root chakra time, we started gaining in this heart space time because we started finding who our real tribe was without the mask. So we could be free to be who we were, and at the same time we were meeting others that were just like us, that were resonating at our resonance, and we were finding new family and friends in this time. So the heart chakra opening was a great time, and if you are going through it, this is what's happening. So next on the list, over here you'll see throat chakra time. Throat chakra time is an interesting time. You now get to take all of that creative energy and you get to start telling everybody what's up and what's going on, who you are and what you're about. Because your will has made you work through all that process, you're now speaking your truth now that your throat is on. Another thing that's happening is maybe your ears are on. You're starting to hear the word of the Lord. You're starting to hear the word of God, of spirit, of your galactic ties, of your empathic ties, whatever the case may be for you. Everybody's got a genetic predisposition. We're all different flavors of the rainbow, but yet we are the star children that came here to do a job. And we are these light bearers, or we could be part of the 144 and the angelics that walk the earth with everyone. Now, the thing is that when our throat came on, our ears may have came on. So maybe you became a prophetic. Maybe you became a teacher. Maybe you started to sing. Maybe your throat opened so you could speak words, speak the word of God, whatever the case may be. And for some of us, we actually grew the ability to sing. So some of us were able to sing. For some of us, we never could sing, but now with our throat open, we're starting to sing. And why? Because maybe we're going to have to do something with our throat, with our singing capability. But at the end of the day, we're also able to hear. So for those of you that don't know, all of this section of time, every single chakra that opened up, you gain gifts. These are all gifts given to you by our creator. And when you get to this throat section, you get to speak your truth. You're actually walking into your oneness of self. And that brings you to the next one. Last but not least, this brings you to the last one, which is the crown. The crown, your sovereign state of being, who you truly are, is something that you've never really shown the world. And as you went through this whole time frame, don't think this was easy. Don't think this is a short period of time. Moving from the 3D to the 5D takes a lot of shifts. That's why if you see these videos that say that you're shifting, it's because you were shifting all through these chakra systems, letting all these vortices open, these vortices of energy within your huge energy body, within your oversoul, within all your higher selves included, and you're now realizing that you're a sovereign being who is endowed a plethora of things, meaning that you can manifest, you can actually morph the world around you and co-create. And that's what the little boy meant, that it's actually not the spoon that's bending, it's actually you that's bending. And now you realize that you're a bender and you can actually bend and morph the world into what you want it to be with God as your creator, co-piloting, or you're co-piloting with God. Either way, you have to put your crown on. You've realized that you're worth a damn, and you've realized that this is now going to be a place where we can shape and mold the world to what we see fit. As these light workers, we're trying to make everyone come on. Why? Because we're all endowed these gifts by God. There is not just a small number of us. I mean, there might have been a small number of us that started and paved the way, but everyone is given this gift of God, and everyone is entitled to try to move through the chakras and take this journey and ascend with the rest of us. That's that's why it's called an ascension time. It's not just for the select, it's for all of us. And if we can all get all the consciousness to rise and to ascend to a certain level, then we can really mold and shift the world together. If we all got our crowns on, if we all got all of our energy centers pumping full throttle, then that means that we get to be the co-creators that shape the world together. And that's exactly what a 5-dimensional space is, right? A 5-dimensional space is one where you can actually manifest at will and you can live in a heart space of love. Doesn't that sound right? Well, if it is, then you do the work too. You move from the 3D to the 5D. And then as you find in the heart, you're going to start to meet all the other 5Ders that are working with you. And don't think you have to stop there, because realistically, there's so many other dimensions. You could go to 7D, 9D, 11D, onward D. Just saying, because 5D is just the first stage of getting to this place of manifestation in love. So for those of you out there, congratulations, you've reached the 5D. And if you haven't yet, and you just got a little curious from this video, and you're actually in one of these stages right now, or you're just losing someone, and you don't know and understand what's going on, I hope this helps, because I wish somebody had told me this when I first started. But it's a process, and it's a long process. And don't think that it isn't, and you got to work through it. But when you get to this crown stage, trust me, it gets a whole lot easier. So just keep going. We're trying to ascend. Be part of the mission, be part of the purpose, be part of the change. Love you lots. Catch you next time.